Join me every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for some MTG Arena content. New episodes featuring Limited, Standard, Brawl, Standard 2022, Jumpstart, whatever we can play. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey, what's up, everybody? Back again for another OB Plays MTG. Today we're going to be doing some Orzhov Venture, or as I like to call it, Ace Ventura, because we are playing with Acererak the Archlich. When Acererak the Archlich enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, return Acererak the Archlich to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. Whenever Acererak the Archlich attacks, for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature. In order to get all this thing going, we kind of need to complete Tomb of Annihilation and do it as soon as possible. So how are we going to do that? Well, Nadaar Selfless Paladin, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you venture into a dungeon, and when you complete a dungeon, other creatures you control get +1/+1. Triumphant Adventurer, this card's pretty great for this deck. As long as it's your turn, Triumphant Adventurer has first strike. When Triumphant Adventurer attacks, venture into the dungeon. How we keep these whole key pieces alive? Well, we have Selfless Savior, Loyal Warhound, which has been an interesting card because I played with this deck a little bit, trying to get it together and have a good idea of how to put this thing into motion. And I mean, it's either really good or really bad. I kind of hate white mana ramp mechanics. I think they're terrible. But to be honest, if you play it and you haven't played a land yet and your opponent's going first or whatever, it does help to kind of keep caught up in the game. Luminarch Aspirant, putting counters on stuff. If you played Arena or Magic in the past, this is a great card to have in any white aggro-based deck. Heartless Act for some removal. Probably the best removal in Standard 2022, at least. We're playing actual traditional Standard today. I think there's a lot that can be done with pre-rotation Standard right now, and I've been enjoying some games. So I wanted to kind of I didn't put this deck together, actually. A guy did a MTGO tournament, or a league, and his name was Mr. Doodles, I believe. And this was actually featured on CFB Pro by LSV because he thought it was cool. So I was like, why not? I'll give it a shot. And I thought it'd be a great deck to show off. And, kudos to the guy who built this. He went 5-0 in the league. So Ebondeath, just recursive, and you're going to be discarding a lot of cards to Tomb of Annihilation, so you might as well have something that you can discard safely, and people will be killing your stuff often, or you can just sacrifice Selfless Savior and cast it in the same turn in the middle to late game. So Elite Spellbinder, just a great disruption card. It's been a pretty big staple since it came out in Strixhaven in multiple formats. So Sideboard, Cling to Dust, Rogues. Duress, also kind of Rogues. Elspeth's Nightmare, Rogues. And also small creatures. Mode 2 is really good against counterspell decks, so we keep it in there. Elspeth Conquers Death to kind of hit the big targets like Coma Cosmos Serpent, things like that. We can also bring stuff back, have it harder for them to cast non-creature spells. Giant Killer is just a good anti-aggro card from Throne of Eldraine. Chop down, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, and then when it's on the battlefield, you pay 1 and a white and tap target creature. Shadowspear, I've mentioned before, is great against other aggro decks. Give a creature +1/+1, trample and lifelink. You can take a hexproof and indestructible off other permanents. Check for traps, another Adventures of the Forgotten Realms hand disruption spell. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. Exile that card. If an instant card or card with flash is exiled this way, they lose 1 life. Otherwise, you lose 1 life. Very in the vein of Agonizing Remorse from Theros Beyond Death, but comes with kind of a little bonus there. If you do end up exiling instant cards or cards with flash. Epic Downfall for Coma Cosmos Serpent, anything that's Goldspan Dragon, anything that can be a really big pain in the rear end. And just, of course, Elspeth's Nightmare, because the way Arena has sideboard set up now is very strange. I've been having fun with this deck. I wanted to try something new and share some new stuff with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe if you want to. I'll be putting out videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I plan on doing limited videos. I plan on doing Brawl videos. We're going to get into a bunch of deck techs, talk about what's going on in Magic, and then, of course, as we just found out, Jumpstart Historic Horizons is coming out. So I'll probably be doing some Jumpstart. And it's going to be really interesting to see what Modern Horizons 1 and Modern Horizons 2 cards can do in Historic, as the format's already the Wild West. As I said before, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's get into some games. Orzhov Venture, guys. Still playing this deck. We're very excited. Fella JD. I really want this strategy to work. I want it to be fun. I mean, we have our Luminarch Aspirants and a Triumphant Adventurer to pump up. Temple of Silence going first. I say we give it a shot. See what's on the top of the deck. We do not need another land. We're basically trying to burn through the Annihilation Tomb or whatever, so we can get to using Acererak, or whatever his name is, as early as possible. Looks like we're playing up against some sort of treasure strategy. This is really popular in 2022 right now. We aren't playing standard 2022. Go ahead, attack it, it's fine. I think what we're going to do here, Temple of Silence, flip that land to the bottom. Apparently, this deck really wants us to draw lands this game. We're going to go ahead and attack. Start our Tomb of Annihilation run. And get your treasure. We have a second Luminarch Aspirant if we really need it. Forsworn Paladin is actually pretty good, according to what people have told me. I don't really pay much attention to stuff like this, so. Alright. Vanishing Verse, that's pretty good. Pay 3 life. I think we're just going to kill this thing. Go ahead and play a second Luminarch Aspirant, start pumping this thing up real crazy, and yeah, start going in. Yeah, I think we're going to do this. What can we discard? Land? We'll discard the land, sacrifice one of these, and one of these. Could have Heartless Act or something to get rid of these, but okay, Sedgemoor Witch hitting us for 1. Might be a Pests treasure deal. You gotta turn it to do stuff, don't you? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, interesting. That's cool though. Plumb the Forbidden. We are going to pump this up, attack in with this. We are going to create our Atropal token and make it very hard for the opponent to block. Sedgemoor Witch is a problem. We really need to find a way to answer it. So he starts plumbing the Forbidden and culling Ritual and all that. That's when things get a little crazy. This looks like a limited deck. Okay, Blood Chief's Thirst. Makes sense. Just seems like this strategy is just a little too slow. Just a little bit. Everybody's playing these like high-paced Magecraft decks and stuff and all that, and it's just, I don't know if this is good enough. Go ahead and attack him with this. We'll leave up Ebondeath. Flyer might not be a bad idea right now. Wait till the end of their turn, because Ebondeath has flash. And look at my fancy whale versions of these cards. I'd love to know like what they do in the actual like universe, you know. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. That's fine. Curious to know what this guy's doing. This is a sorcery, so okay. Draw some cards. Worst comes to worst, he can be pumping mana into stuff and doing crazy things. I just don't know if I have the answers to all this. I do play an Azorius Control deck that plays Monk class that Brian Gottlieb put together that is super amazing. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to beat this. I think we'll go on to the next game. Trying to think of stuff. Power 2 or less. This could be useful. This could be useful. Now it's just, what do I take out? I think we'll go one of these and one of these. Give it a shot. I kept the Adventures of the Forgotten Realms lands because it's very flavorful. They're really cool. They got like Dungeon Dragons flavor text on them. Venturing beneath the desert sands, you've discovered an alien power pulsing with inconceivable energy. Yeah, that's my Dungeon Master voice. We're just going to keep this. Triumphant Adventurer. Might as well. Let's go in with our plan. Got some removal for Sedgemoor Witch. Wow, they really want us to play Triumphant Adventurer, so that's what we're going to do. Hunt for specimens. Or another Warlock class. That card's crazy. Force 1 Paladin. Play this on black. Let's crack another Adventurer. We'll go ahead and start our journey into the Tomb of Annihilation. Doesn't want to block. Forgive me if I seem a little out of it. I worked a really hard shift tonight. I'm tired. Just trying to live. I don't want to miss out on creating content for the thing I love, which is Magic the Gathering, so we're going to keep this up. Alright, make this a white. Is this an instant? No, it's a sorcery. We'll go ahead and play a third one of these, and we're just going to trounce through this dungeon. Alright. I've actually cleared all three with this deck, which I thought was super cool. Yeah, we'll get rid of Loyal Warhound. We'll decline take two. Play the Loyal. We have Epic Downfall if we need it. My elbows, man. I don't really care about that because he's just going to plumb the Forbidden anyway. Try and draw some cards and answer, as they say in this game. As if I'm like pro MTG, you know. I'm in the MPL, guys. I'm not at all, not even close. I wouldn't even stand a chance, guys. Oh, cool. That's fine. Who cares? I'm gonna go ahead and swing in now and venture into the dungeon 26 times. Alright, moving into the Lost Mine. I don't need a Loyal Warhound. I think we need more Nadaar. Go ahead and make it 1-1. Smack. And now he's got to do something. I don't know if he has anything. We do have Epic Downfall. He'll probably play Sedgemoor. Oh well, that's still pretty good, but doesn't stop us. That's fine. GG's. To the face. Peace, bro. Yep, you're done. GG's, fella. So this whole plan worked out okay, right? I think we're going to go ahead and just kind of keep. I mean, Warlock class is a pain. Carries mostly creatures. I could bring in check for traps. And kind of play, you know, that whole plan. I think I'll bring in one. If I can get to it. Yeah, we'll bring in one. Fell laid. If it was an I would probably laugh at that name. Just 'cause it's like, dude, I fell and got laid. Anyway, moving on. We will hopefully draw other stuff we need, but I like the removal in this hand. So I can be like, F you, man, and your Sedgemoor Witch BS. Ha ha. I really wanted that card to do like cool things. But like with Sultai Ultimatum in the format and Is It Dragons, like all these crazy things that can just take over games, you know? Just never did its thing. Hopefully, when Standard rotates and Throne of Eldraine is gone once more, we can possibly see some cool new strategies coming from all this. Probably has Plumb the Forbidden. Not gonna lie. I will keep this Luminarch Aspirant alive. We do have Epic Downfall if he decides to get hyphy and play some Sedgemoor Witch shenanigans and do all the crazy pest stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I expected. He was gonna, yeah, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Resolve, that's fine. Alright. My question here to myself is, do I kill this? I think what we're going to do, we'll play this, ramp a little bit. Just put this down tapped. We don't have to go crazy on it. Smack. I will snap kill a Sedgemoor Witch, because if they start gaining life like crazy, then that's when we run into problems. So might have Flunk, I think, is like a card people are playing with the -1/-1. Blood Chief's Thirst. Do I care about this creature? I mean, it's kind of all I have. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Save it. If he wants to spend a second removal spell on it, he can. Warlock class. Makes sense. I am going to kill this now. 2 punch through for damage. We really got to stop losing the race here. Because he is like, he or she or they or them, no disrespect, is pulling ahead with these card advantage and Warlock class and all this stuff. So I want to make sure that we're staying on pace. Plumb the Forbidden. Okay. Opponent just wasted that turn to draw a bunch of cards. We'll go ahead and play a Selfless Savior. Smack. Play a land. We just might get by here, as long as the opponent doesn't do anything crazy this turn. Okay, Sedgemoor Witch. That's a bummer. If he plays 2, it's even bigger of a bummer, but at least we have an answer to 1. Okay, pass summoning. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. My turn. Get rid of this. We'll pay our life. Take action. We really need to draw into something here. Otherwise, we're in big trouble. I think we will. We'll block. Or, sacrifice Selfless Savior. Just try and keep something here. I could really use Ebondeath. I could really use anything in our creature dungeon plan. Just churning through the deck, that's the problem. Makes perfect sense. Hunt for specimens. It's irritating. Necrotic fumes. Anything I play, it's going to be tough. Yeah. Opponent might have it on us this game. And we'll take 2. Opponent is running out of gas, though, which isn't bad, and we've hit a lot of lands, so hopefully we can start hitting what we need. Deadly Dispute is kind of a drag. Shambling Guest. Okay. Just more and more treasures and drawing cards and this and that, so... Elite Spellbinder, sure. We'll just play it. We'll end up playing out the rest of the match. Ugh. Whatever. Make them have to work for that. Lolith is kind of a drag. It's a really cool deck. I mean, it's running on that whole, like... It's kind of like a sacrifice deck, but it's not as good as Jund's Sacrifice was, you know? Yeah, there's not much we can do. Yeah, GG's, man. That was pretty solid. I mean, I think we're seeing what I kind of have felt while playing this deck. While really cool, really synergistic, and when it goes off, it goes off. Like when we had that 3 Triumphant Adventurer turn or game where we just went through the Tomb of Annihilation and got all the triggers we needed, and then if I drew into like a Nadaar or an Acererak at that point, it would have been insane. Like, you know, when you're ahead, you're ahead, but like against something like this where you're gaining life, card advantage, having like permanent stick on the battlefield like Warlock class that can constantly give you value, I just think this deck kind of falls short in that sense. And not saying that I believe Dr. Doodle or Mr. Doodles or whatever the guy who made this didn't win Standard League with it, because I mean probably against like control decks and stuff like that, if you get a good enough start and you're pushing through, you can probably swing through for the win pretty easily. But I think people are starting to catch on to the brews now in traditional Standard. And this, I just played against as a brew, but it just had a better game plan. Like, it was just too much incidental damage for me to keep up. And once you start making a ton of tokens, I can't find a way to win the game. So, on to the next game. Still playing some Orzhov Venture. Last game didn't go like we planned it. I really enjoyed the idea of this deck. Made a really cool YouTube print for it, you know. Hilarious Ace Ventura joke. I would like to at least get 1 win out of 2, you know. I try and stay real with you guys. I want to make sure you know that I'm not just always putting the victory videos in. I want to make sure that, like, you know, like, hey man, you can lose with the deck, you can win with the deck. Here's what it's good against. Here's what we have fun playing against. I want to make sure all avenues are covered. But that aside, I'm excited for Jumpstart Historic Horizons. I don't know who isn't. Modern Horizons 1 and 2 coming to Historic. Also, some of these digital cards, they look like they're going to be fun to play. Some of them don't look like they're going to make a huge impact as much as they could, which I'm kind of hoping is the case, because I don't want Historic to get too off the wall more than it already is. But I mean, Dragon Rage Channeler's coming. There's tons of things we can do in Historic already, so we'll see. I like this plan. Opponent goes first, Gigantha. I don't know who plays that in Standard, so it might be a brew. We'll go ahead and keep this. I can Temple of Silence first turn. Got a Loyal Warhound. Oh wow, they want me to draw all the Loyal Warhounds. We'll probably play that. Okay, green-white. Curious to see Edgewall Innkeeper. Okay, so it's some form of an Adventures deck. I wonder if they're playing Naya with that now. With Gigantha. Doesn't make... I mean, I guess Bone Crusher Giant doesn't have 2 pips, so... We'll play the Adventurer. And then if we want to, we can play Warhound after that. I think if this survives... If he drops red mana and Bone Crushes this, we're kind of in trouble. It looks like Celestia. This is definitely a brew, but it's kind of one that we're going to have trouble against. Okay. Lack of land is kind of troubling here. Could play the Warhound. I think what I want to do... We'll go ahead and play Aspirant. We'll start buffing this up. We'll attack in. Start our tomb. Luckily, most of these adventure cards are all mono-colored. So... Ribbo 2099. Go ahead and play Temple of Silence. See what's on top of the library. I don't know if I need this. We might... I kind of need a removal spell at this point, because opponent's going to gain too much value off the Notorious Edgewall Innkeeper combo. Looks like Needleverge Pathway. We're probably going to end up getting ranched by, yep, Showdown of the Skulls. Opponent drew 2 Edgewall Innkeepers off that. That's rough. We're going to Loyal Selfless Savior. We'll throw a Loyal Warhound down. We'll go ahead and put a counter on that. Attack in. We'll discard a card. I think we'll do the Veils of Fear. We'll discard this. I should have played both of these and then just, you know, sacrificed a Selfless Savior. That was kind of a misplay on my part. That's a lot of resources, but we'll go to first strike damage, and then we'll end the turn. He's gonna get a ton of value this turn with all them Edgewall Innkeepers. He had like 2 in a pocket. That's kind of insane. These decks are crazy. To be real, like, as long as... This is a bummer. Want to do something fun, and then we run into these crazy adventure strategies. Standard's kind of evening itself out again, which is a little rough, but what can you do? That's fine. We'll go ahead and block. My turn. Hey, second Luminarch Aspirant. At least we're doing something here. Go ahead, pull those in. Put this in. I think we might have to sacrifice a land here. Yeah, we'll sacrifice a land. Do the best we can, guys. We'll see how this goes. Opponent's probably going to go nuts on this turn. To be real, all he has to do is cast a adventure spell, and then he draws 2 cards. You know, like, not much we can do here. Naya Adventures at its finest. At least turning out to be an okay game of Magic, you know? Opponent doesn't want to do a thing. Curious to know. Alright, well, exile that. Go to combat. Put some counters on some of the better stuff. Tap down the Triumphant Adventurer, that's fine. We'll attack him with this. See what he wants to do. He or she. Okay. Play this tapped. At least we have blockers. Issue comes when they start casting Goldspan Dragon and stuff. It's like, what are we supposed to do in that situation? Aside from Vanishing Verse. Okay, yep, draw 2 cards. Bone Crusher Giant, what are you gonna do? Everything's just extremely efficient when you're playing, what's it called? Adventures. Is your Spirit Sentinel? Just not our day, man. It is not our day. It's the way of the road. I think opponent's just kind of going away from us, and at this point we should probably just move to game 2. Alright, adventures. This seems pretty good. A couple of these, maybe an ECD. We'll go down 2 of the air threats are not really useful either. There's like, it's just, what are you gonna do, you know? Heartless Act's kind of bad because they're putting counters on everything with Showdown of the Skulls. You know, bring in a giant killer, take out all the Heartless Acts. Call it a day. Back at it, RVO 2099. Playing Naya Adventures. Great deck. Probably considered top in the format alongside Sultai and Izzet. Adventures package has been insane. Get us a Temple of Silence down. We have Nadaar, Triumphant Adventurer, Luminarch Aspirant, Loyal Warhound. It's decent. I don't know if I want to land. I kind of want answers. Sentinel. Go ahead and Triumphant Adventurer. might not survive because of Bone Crusher Giant. Boy, will it be good when that card leaves the format. Tons of just Spirit Sentinel. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I should have played this last turn. Another misplay. I'm tired. Sorry. Well, Luminarch Aspirant. Start growing something, hopefully. Nadaar Selfless Paladin isn't a bad pickup either. Really depends on how crazy these turns go. 4 cards in hand. Red mana. More than likely has Bone Crusher Giant. They always do. Elite Spellbinder. We don't really have anything we're that concerned about. I will not play a Selfless Savior for 3 mana, but if he tries to get rid of one of the Nadaars, that's fine. We have another one. Play this tapped. We'll go ahead and enter him into the battlefield. Start our tomb. Hold something up. Okay. That's a bummer. Well, that's actually not terrible because we at least know the opponent doesn't have anything crazy right now. They're probably sitting on land. These decks are really land heavy. Triumphant. Okay. We'll put him down. And put down this. Opponent does not have removal. Because they would have played it by now. I think we'll do this. That's fine. Because we have Selfless Savior. Not sure what the opponent's doing. Submit. We'll discard that. I don't need that. I don't think he wants to do that, like, because like this deck really needs a board presence, and he knows I have Selfless Savior. So if he tries to block and kill it, I'm just gonna save it. Triumphant Adventurer is interesting. We'll see. I might start pumping some counters into that. Gonna play some Gigantha? The Wellspring? Clarion Spirit, okay. I feel like opponent just drew into that. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna be able to catch up at this point. We'll put a counter there. Ship in. Submit. Decline. Take 2. You want to get rid of that, that's fine. I don't care. Make ourselves a Death Touch token. And everything's stronger, at least. Okay. We'll see. If opponent keeps drawing like garbage, we might have a chance. Yeah, screw it. Throw the land down, pass the turn, doing the best we can. Alright, Love Struck Beast, that's a bummer. Less of a bummer now. Thank you, Giant Killer. I'll go ahead and play this. Okay, opponent scooped it up. Very surprising. Might not have had the stuff they needed for the matchup. But yeah, that is kind of curious. Because if they would have just attacked... Oh! At least we got a win. I'll take it. Orzhov Venture. Well, guys, I mean, in the end, deck's super fun. Venturing into the dungeon could be really interesting after Standard rotates and Throne of Eldraine's out of the format. Because in all honesty, we kind of got lucky in that end game there. Something must have happened where opponent had to leave. Because they kind of had me on the ropes there pretty hard, and I think they just kind of gave up. First game, we just got overwhelmed by a brew, like in mono black pest tokens. I think the guy who created this deck was really smart. It's really fun. You want to give it a try. I mean, go ahead if you got extra wild cards. I wouldn't count on it being super competitive. Like, it'd be fun to play on the ladder if you actually like learn to master it. I mean, like, MVP cards, I never really got to cast this except to venture into the dungeon, so I'm not really sure. I played a couple games. One game where it kind of went insane and the opponent was sacrificing creatures and they didn't know what to do and all this other stuff. Ebondeath, I've played in other decks that it's really fun. This, if it's on the battlefield and you have a completed dungeon, is crazy, you know, like, but all in all, when it goes off, it goes off. But when it doesn't, it just feels like it's always 2 steps behind. Thank you guys for watching. Stick around for the video coming up on Friday, you know, and we'll get back to it. I look forward to seeing you guys again. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell, get some notifications, and get them videos. See you later, guys.